using this game, this is the time where we process how did it feel to, you know, go through those emotions, because some of those are harder than not. Some of those are come easier, even with the hard emotions like fear and anger. Those memories might come up faster and more, may be more readily available. And so this is an opportunity where we just kind of, you know, talk through it. Hey, I saw you struggling with that fear. Is there something there you want to talk about that a little bit more? Or I noticed there wasn't a lot of happy feelings as much. You want to talk about that a little bit more? So a real natural way to get those emotions out of kids, and a good opportunity to kind of talk through and process. And it may even lead into some additional discoveries that you might not know was there that kind of need to be walked through or processed through or things like that. So I highly recommend the Color Monster game for any mental health professionals, anyone that's just having struggles with trying to get their kids to open up or get family members to open up, or if you see someone really struggling, the Color Monster is a great game to just kind of walk through those emotions in a really natural but fun way.
Absolutely. And we will be giving away one. Sport Plays Games donated to this, so we will be giving one away to one of our donors. So if you donate through our link all day long, as we hit certain milestones or certain time limits, we're going to be randomly pulling and giving away games. So Color Monster will be one of those games.
Awesome.
All right. Any final thoughts, Jared?
I mean, this is my first time playing this, and I think it's as simplistic as it is. It's a fantastic game, not just, you know, for children, like you said, but adults too. I mean, we proved that right here.
Yeah.
And another great thing about it is it lets you and the person you're playing with know, you know, you're not alone, you know, in any of this. So a lot of us are more alike than what we realize. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point that I think every time any one of us was sharing something, the other ones were like, oh yeah, that, and it kind of triggered something in our minds.
Yeah,
And also when you're playing, I mean, we were kind of short with our answers, but I could land on fear and tell you a story. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can share whatever you want, and I mean, if you're trying to get, you know, especially in your field, trying to get somebody, you could set the rule like, hey, when you land on it, tell me a story about a time or something like that. Kind of get people talking.
Yep, that's a good point. Sometimes I kind of use the game with themes. So if I notice a client, you know, has had more struggles at school lately, or more struggles at home, or with a particular parent, we can kind of set themes to the emotions that we're going through. So we were talking about fear. Tell me something that you're scared of at school, or with a teacher, or with peers. If we're talking about home stuff, what makes you sad at home? What makes you happy at home? What calms you down at home? And so that's a great little kind of modification to the game. Is you can kind of set themes. We can make it all about memories. We can make it all about experiences. We can make it all about relationships as we're talking through the emotions. And so it kind of keeps the game fresh in that, you know, in that regard. If I've used it last week, I had a kiddo a couple weeks ago. He said, "Man, we're playing this game again." And I said, "Yeah, you've been struggling at school a lot more. So we're going to play this game in the framework of school. So everything that we talk through is going to be school." And it's a totally different experience every time. So even though we played it a couple weeks ago, and then we played it again last time, we were talking about stuff that was going on at home and in the community. And so the game really felt fresh. It was a new, fresh perspective on it. I actually keep this game in my car on deck, just in case I may be struggling with a client or some things that maybe came up in the last session. I want to use this game to kind of dive in a little bit more. Those kind of things. And so clients will oftentimes see me walking to their house like, "Are we playing Color Monster today?" Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see how this goes. But yeah, again, I highly recommend it. It's a great game.
Yeah. And I want to thank Saltier Games for donating Color Monster. You know, and I've donated some more copies. So we're trying to get, partnering with the store. I'm trying to get this game into healthcare professionals, and Steven has definitely helped me know where to funnel that to, so I appreciate that. So I think that is it for this one. So I want to thank both of my guests. You guys appreciate it immensely, sharing.
Fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we're gonna run some packets on, I believe, Nami and some other stuff, and we're gonna set up. And next up, we have Justin from CGE. We're gonna play Lost Ruins of Arnak. What's that? Arnak. You guys, if you watch me, you don't expect me to pronounce things right anyway. So, all right, we'll see you in a minute. Thank you.
Don't trust him. Don't must that hurt you? You're worthless. It's pointless. Where are they?
Look at you.
I can't hide.
Please,
You have to go. Where are they?
When the pain of schizophrenia meets hope, everything can change. Give someone who's struggling the help they desperately need. Your support of the National Alliance on Mental Illness funds programs and support groups that can transform a life. Be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
The Color Monster is a children's book written and illustrated by Anna Linas. Her story helps very young children, and even those of us who are not so young, to be aware of and to deal with their emotions. Now you can also enjoy it in the form of a cooperative board game. Hey everybody, I'm Stork from Stork Plays Games, and today I am here to teach you how to play The Color Monster from Devere Games. Hopefully you've watched my unboxing video where I explained this game was donated to me by Saltier Games, and I will be redonating it to some mental health professionals to put this game into action. So let's take a few minutes and learn how to play. In The Color Monster, our goal is to help the Color Monster get his emotions back into the correct jars. So we will be moving around the board, talking about our feelings, and working cooperatively to accomplish a task. First, put your game board in the center of the table. Next, take your emotion counters and put them on the correct matching emotion. After that, take your girl token and your Color Monster token and place them in the pink love space. Last, we're going to take our die and put it near the board with our jars. Mix up the jars, place them whole side up where you cannot see the color on the back. And that's the setup. On a player's turn, the first thing you do is roll the die. If you get a number, a 1 or a 2, you'd move the Color Monster that many spaces. So the Color Monster would move onto happiness. If you get a spiral, the player moves the Color Monster to any space on the board. If you get the girl, you would move the girl to the same space as the Color Monster. So let's show a turn. In my example, I rolled a 1, so the Color Monster will move 1 to the happiness space. When the Color Monster finishes his move on a space that has an emotion counter, the player who moved him has to tell the other player something that causes him or her to feel the emotion that matches the color of that space. Could be an event, a memory, an object, or a moment in time. After that player has explained what causes the feeling, he or she chooses one of the jars on the shelf and turns it around. So in our example here, I rolled a 1. So we'd move the Color Monster 1 to the happiness space. I would take the happiness token and I would say something that makes me happy. So for example, playing board games with my friends makes me really happy. So then I would take this happiness token and try to place it in a jar. You take a jar and I would flip it over. If this jar matches the yellow happiness, I would place it inside. If it doesn't, I would flip it back around. So I flipped this over and I got red anger jar. So since this doesn't match, I cannot place it inside here. So this goes back on the shelf and flips back around. If the jar had shown the correct emotion of happiness, I could take the emotion counter, place it inside the jar, and place the jar back on the shelf. You might also flip over a jar and reveal a mixed color jar. If you reveal a mixed color jar, you have to leave it face up. We also have to swap 2 jars on a shelf and mix them. If at any point we reveal 3 mixed color jars, then the game ends and we would have to start over. If we were to roll the girl, we can move the girl to the space with the Color Monster. The girl will try to make sure that the color monster is not overcome by his jumbled emotions. Each time the color monster ends up in the same space as the girl, or when the girl moves to the same space as the color monster after a die roll, the player can turn one of the jars showing mixed colors around so it is hidden again. If there are no mixed color jars showing, the player just rolls and moves again. We might also roll the spiral. The spiral will allow you to move the color monster to any space on the board. And if it's later in the game and we've already collected fear, sadness, and anger, and we're just trying to get calm, then we might want to move the color monster automatically to calm. Or we might want to move the monster with the girl because we have 2 mixed jars showing, and this will allow us to flip one back over. If at any point we roll and we go to a space that doesn't have a token, we still have to share our emotions and what makes us, in this instance, fear. If we collect all 5 emotions in the correct jars, then we've won the game. So the first thing I'm going to do is roll the die. I got the girl, so I'd move the girl with the color monster. The girl's already with the color monster, so I would share love, and I would flip over a mixed jar if I had one, which I don't. Love would be just my family, so let's roll again, and a 1. So the color monster moves to the 1. And then I would collect happiness, and I would try to find the correct jar, and I would share a happy thought. Happiness is, for me, seeing my sons play soccer. It's a very happy emotion for me. So let's see if I can find this. Oh, wow, I did find it. So there we go. That's 1. So let's take another roll. We got the girl. So the girl would move to the monster. Again, I would share something happy. And if I had a mixed color jar, we would flip that over. We don't have a mixed color jar, so we would just roll again and take our turn. Another happy emotion, like I said earlier, is playing board games with my friends. 2. So 1, 2. We have collected anger. What makes me angry? This is where this game gets tough. Sometimes it's hard to share your emotions. Sometimes it's hard to think of an emotion. It makes me angry when people leave the lights on all over the house. I love the dark, which I can use for love, but I love the dark. So I don't like it when all the lights are left on. So let's see if I can find anger. Let's try this one. No, I found the fear jar. So we'll put that back, and I just need to remember that that's there. And we'll put back anger. Oh, and we rolled another 2 off. 1, 2. Calm. So I'm trying to come up with something calm and find the calm jar. So something that makes me calm is sitting outside by my koi pond, listening to my waterfall and watching my koi and my turtles swim around. So let's try this one. Oh, there's our anger jar. Didn't get it. Go one more time. The spiral. I can move the color monster anywhere I want. So I know where fear is. I know where anger is. Let's go with fear. This is the one most people wouldn't say. So I'm going to collect the fear token. And fear, I would say helplessness, not being able to control helping my family. So let's say this one. Oh, I knew where it was and I still messed it up. That's okay, it's a good example. So now we have 1 color jumble. I'm gonna roll this one more time. Got a 1. Anger. I'm gonna say messes and clutter, and we know that that was there, so we're doing pretty good. If at any point we get the girl and the monster together, we can flip that back over. What we don't want to happen is I don't want to find 2 more of those, because then we would lose and the game would be over. Well, that's it. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. The Color Monster is a very powerful game, I believe, in the hands of the right people, which really can be anybody. There's a great spot, and I covered it in the unboxing video, but I want to cover it one more time. At the end here, it has suggestions for parents and professionals. So this has a great write-up of how to use this game to its full potential, and I really believe that board games do a lot for a lot of us. The quarantine really showed me how much I needed to play board games, and I really wanted to interact with my friends. I thought I was a very self-sufficient person that stays at home a lot and doesn't need to go out and do stuff, but I found out very quickly that I was wrong. I really need it. I need that interaction. So that's just something that board games does for me, but this is even more powerful than that. It's something that board games can do to really help communicate and get people's thoughts and emotions out there and really help communicate. So please, especially if you're having trouble communicating with your kids or any kids or just anybody that you think would sit down and play this game, I think it will really help. So again, I want to say special thank you to Saltier Games for donating this copy. They do great work there. If you're in the Indianapolis area, please check them out. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please subscribe, click the little bell icon to know when I'm putting up new videos. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Astor Plays Games. If you like my shelves, check the description. The Box Thrones, there will be a discount code there. If you want to buy this game, it will also be in the description. You can buy it from Saltier Games. And if you are interested in getting any of my merch, please check that out in the description as well. Thank you guys again. I will see you next time. Come play a game with me.
When depression meets hope, everything can change. Give someone who's struggling the help they desperately need. Your support of the National Alliance on Mental Illness funds programs and support groups that can transform a life. Be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
And we have 10 seconds to let people feel the story of these people, you know, and what they're going through. You know, one is schizophrenia and one is depression, and to actually dig in and find actors that really understand that and can really play the role is number one, pretty amazing to watch. But you know, for a director, it's a treat to get to direct something like that.
I thought that it was very important to give back to NAMI. It's been a wonderful resource both for caretakers of people with mental illness as well as people who have mental illness themselves.
I came out for 2 reasons. Family member who suffered from a mental illness brought my daughters out so they could participate in the event and do public service at the same time. And the secondary is where I work. It plays a role because we do a lot of focus on helping and assisting and getting people to where they need to go.
It's important for me for people to know about mental illness, that it's not discriminating, that it can affect all families, and nobody asks for it. So I thought this was a way to support the people in my family, my son especially, who suffers with mental illness.
That if you come together and you volunteer and you're more visible, then mental illness becomes more visible and it becomes more accepted.
Shown that there are people out there that are going through the same things that they have been going through, and they can get help. They can get the support and the love that they need. So you don't have to go through the things alone. And that's what I want people to get from the video.
Yeah. Being able to come out here and be a part of something so touching and so heartfelt that can reach out to others, that let other people see that, hey, you're not going through this alone. There's other people who suffering from the same thing, suffering from other things, but we advocates to let you know that you're not in this alone. We're reaching out so you won't have to be afraid to be ashamed of what you're going through. You know, you got to understand that it's not just you alone. You know, it's a lot of us, and I say a lot of us because we all suffer from something. So we just got to be heartfelt enough to want to reach out to someone else to help them get better, or to let the people around the world see that, hey, there are really people out here who care.
And in the end, if it just gives one person an idea, something they can do, something they can make better for themselves or someone that they know that has a problem, I think it was worth it.
For all, I think it's positive. And when you get a group of people, it's like a force to be reckoned with.
And there was a real rapport, even though we were strangers, but when we came together, we knew we were going to make a difference.
Yeah, I can't feel my toes right now, but I'd say it's worth it.
Our proven installation process ensures your gutters are in tip-top shape and prepped to protect your home. Step 1.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for waiting patiently. We're gonna have some cool video packets like that all day long. So while we're setting up and stuff, it's just some video packets. So thank you for watching those and staying with us. I have an awesome guest with me. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. Go right ahead.
Hey everybody, I'm Justin Swigert with Czech Games Edition. I'm part of the North American sales team, and Stork, thanks for having me out. I'm really happy to be here, and hopefully I can live up to the Color Monster that you guys did previously. But just happy to be here, supporting a great organization like NAMI, and help support the cause.
So yeah, absolutely, and the Color Monster, I'm glad you brought that up, is a great game, and we talked about the mental health aspects. But the reason I wanted to do just some other games is because of my personal mental health struggle through COVID. As to where, and I talked about it on my channel, I work from home. I worked from home for years. I'm home all the time, and it's just like my thing. That's my place. I don't need to venture out until I couldn't, and then I started going a little bonkers. That my wife can attest to. I felt like The Shining. It was like I need to get out of here. when I didn't need to get out of here. And gaming, I realized, was that for me. To be able
Absolutely.
to go to Saltier and sit and play a game, teach a game. So just
you don't always realize how important something is to you until it's gone.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that, you and I would hang out at Saltire, or, we'd hang out and play games and stuff like that. And then the moment we couldn't, it really showed just how much those things meant to us. And anybody who knows me knows that I've experienced my own struggles with mental health. I'm still going through a lifelong struggle with depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. And so, being able to be here and help support this organization, and more importantly, help fight to end the stigma of mental health and stuff like that. Because, and I think hopefully if anything good comes out of this pandemic, hopefully it'll be something to where people will be more open to having these discussions.
Definitely.
To talking about their experiences, and especially then coming together with something that we love, which is just games in general, and appreciating those moments a little more.
No, absolutely. And, you talked about it being more widely known. I was watching the draft the other night, and the NFL was doing mental health stuff all night long, talking about charity. And I just...
Well, even like our own Colts, Darius Leonard has been very open
Yes.
about his own struggles with mental health and stuff
Yes.
like that. So
that's awesome. The fact that, I appreciate you sharing as well, but that's great. And for me, board gaming is just the community, the people who play. It's just so welcoming. It's so inviting. I've talked about on my show before of how Nathan, a friend of mine, and I, when we go to cons, we don't even sit down and play the games. Our favorite thing to do is walk around the cons and just ask. You can walk up to any stranger and say, "What are you playing?" And they're so inviting, and they want to tell you about. And it's just that welcoming. It just means so much to me. So
absolutely.
So let's talk about this hot title.
Let's talk about
You
some
say the title
Arnak.
so I don't pronounce it wrong.
Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Arnak.
You're close. You were close. But that's why I kind of let it slide. You did a good job with it.
All right.
But definitely, this is one of our newer titles that we released at the towards the end of this year, and towards the end of last year, and of course with the pandemic and everything like that, demand has been. So we're catching up to like stock and stuff like that, and